I unintentionally have the best cheating ex revenge story ever and I hate myself for it. I was in a relationship with this girl when we were both in high school. Our relationship was very toxic and I now realize that a lot of that was me. I would get insecure and jealous over every little thing that she tried to do and would try to stop her from pursuing the things she likes because of this.
One of the things she really got into was modeling. She started doing photo shoots with a pretty well-known photographer in our area, and this made me very upset at the time. This was almost a decade ago and I have become more mature since. I promise I told her how I felt, and we started to argue. In the end, there was pretty much an unspoken agreement that she would be allowed to continue her modeling thing.
I would soon come to realize that my assumptions, though in hindsight seemed absolutely delusional, were actually correct as I went through her phone and found messages between them, her and her photographer calling each other daddy and baby. I confronted her about this, and she insisted that it was purely platonic, and my dumb face believed her. A few months pass, and I go through her phone once again, only to find really long conversations between them with an awful lot of illese which they exchanged frequently throughout. This was still not enough for me to want to end the relationship, but the third incident was the straw that broke the camel's back. We were out on a date, and at some point she told me that she wanted to go through my phone. I told her that she's welcome to do so long as I get to go through hers. She then changes her mind, which only piques my curiosity even more. So I insist that she go through my phone and that I will do the same with hers after. She goes through my phone and finds absolutely nothing because I genuinely don't cheat. And as you'd probably expect, I find new conversations on her phone, this time with the guy's girlfriend, where she appears to be very upset as she calls her various derogatory words for being in the photographer house with him alone. This prompts me to end the relationship right then and there, and they make their relationship official on social media just a few weeks later. Now fast forward a couple years, they break up and one of our mutual friends thinks it would be a good idea to get us back together so maybe I can help mend her broken heart. I don't mind the idea, as I've always felt like even though the relationship ended on bad terms, I could have done better in the relationship. So we meet up and one thing leads to another and we do the deed. She then tells me that she hates how the relationship ended and that it was a shame that we couldn't make it work. I agree with her, although there is a small part of me that just wants to scream it didn't work, because you're a lying, cheating bitch. We meet up more frequently over the next few days and it always ends with me and her in bed. However, at some point, she asks if I have any plans on making it official between us. I decide to lie and tell her I had just gotten out of my own relationship and that I wasn't ready to start a new one. The truth was that I had been single for a while and was only beginning to be happy again. I started to appreciate having more time to actually do things that I wanted to do, to be able to be with my family more, and focus on my priorities in life. I truly felt at this point that I had grown so much since we last spoke, and that she was still the same person just with a different hairstyle. I knew right then that I had no plans on getting back together with her. She then hits me with the last question I want to hear. When will you be ready? At the spur of the moment, I tell her that I'm not sure yet, but maybe soon, and so trouble begins. We continue to meet up and hook up and talk, and day after day she asks the same question. Are you ready yet? You know when you're on a really long road trip and the kid at the back is constantly asking, are we there yet? And you just want to turn the van around and tell them we're not going anymore because of them, just to make them feel stay. Well, it was something like that. I couldn't take it anymore and just wanted to shut her up. But instead of telling her the truth, I told her something else entirely. I told her that this was all an elaborate ploy by me to get revenge on her for cheating all those years ago, and that I had been waiting for Nebesico. I told her that I didn't care about her at all, and that she was delusional for thinking I would ever get back with her after what she had done. Of course, this conversation ends with her in tears and I drop her off at our mutual friend's place and we never talk again. It has been a few years since, and I still feel guilty knowing that she was probably in a very vulnerable state, and that I had made her feel even worse. I would very much like the opportunity to tell her the truth, that I had pretty much forgiven her for what she did even back then, and that I understand that I was also very toxic during our relationship, but that's not happening because she blocked me on all socials, and the last thing I want is to drag our mutual friend into anything involving her ever again. Edit, I understand that the whole cheating thing maybe sort of justifies what I did to some people, but I was already pretty much over it at that point and was at first genuinely willing to give it a shot again. You might argue she deserved it, but I just feel bad knowing there were better ways to let her down, but I just wasn't brave enough to deal with it.